Altcoins won't explode until this happens. I know, everyone is waiting for the altcoin explosion. You're looking at the charts constantly, waiting for something to happen, for your bags to finally go up, but nothing seems to be happening. Instead of going up, we continue to go down and down and down. When people tell you buy the dip, there's a dip after the dip that dips the dip, and you don't have money for that, and I know that. But let's actually talk about what is really happening with altcoins. Now, the biggest reason why altcoins don't move, and by altcoins we mean any coins other than the majors like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Basically everything else is an altcoin. So XRP, you have DOT, you have Render, you have Ondo, you have Link, you have so many other coins out there, right? And that's also the biggest problem. The biggest problem is just that we have too little liquidity and interest and capital moving into the market and way too many coins. And if you have so many different coins and so many different projects, it will be insanely difficult to fill a cup. Imagine this. Imagine you have 10 glasses on your table and you want to fill it in, but you only have such little water. Everyone's just going to get a drop at the end of the day. And this little drop is what you're seeing in altcoins. So there is no movement, nothing is happening. And that's a very big reason. So can you actually still really make money with altcoins? I truly believe you can. You need to focus on the ones that are good projects in general, that have a strong fundament with very, very, very good use case. I will name you a couple of coins that I made a lot of money with. And I've been one of the guys out there real enough to constantly tell people, if you invest into altcoins, then for example, focus on XRP. And that's definitely one of my most favorite altcoins, because XRP actually has real connections, a real fundament, a real use case, and real big money capital invested into it, and the project is constantly being pushed and held accountable, and there's a lot of pilot projects and projects of implementation. So you see there's something actually happening. It's like stocks. If you see the stock market, there's so many stocks. But why are there certain stocks that crush all times high all the time? Because they actually have real value. Apple has a real value. That's why I hold the iPhone in my hand. But you need to project this kind of system and thinking into altcoins, not just buying bullshit that everyone hypes, not just buying coins with fancy names, but actually buying coins that have real value, that real people with real money are interested in. I'm not talking about some crypto geeks that drop in a couple of $1,000 just because they like the coin. That's not gonna make the market move. Meme coins maybe, yes. And that's another big problem. Once meme coins came in, they took so much liquidity and trust from the crypto space. So at one point, meme coins was a blessing. On the other point, it also wrecked us all in crypto. And that's why we don't have any bull run and bear runs anymore. That's why we have so low liquidity. And that's why altcoins continue just to dip. Now, most people think Bitcoin needs to top out first before altcoins move. And that's kind of true. Once Bitcoin moves so fast and so strong, people are moving that liquidity out of Bitcoin into other coins. But the most important thing here is to understand that actually this is not the case anymore, because they just don't trust in the altcoins anymore. There's no trust in crypto right now. And this trust needs to be regained. After all of the hacks, the liquidation events that happened recently, there is just no trust from real investors to actually put money into such a young market. And that will happen. Every market has its phases of trust, where trust is gained and there's very high trust and people put in a lot of money. But then there's also phases where people don't trust into it anymore. They are more hesitant. They fear the market more. And that's where we are right now, an extreme fear and inconsistency in the market that triggers people to put their liquidity somewhere else. Even myself, I put a lot of liquidity, and after making so much money in XRP and BNB and in XLM and so on, I actually moved a lot of this money out into silver, right? Into copper with leverage, because you can still make so much money on there. I made more money. I saw a year-to-date list about assets. Silver up 78%, right? Copper up 40% something. BTC year-to-date, couple of percent, not even more than 10. That is insane. So I truly believe it has nothing to do anymore with a top out in BTC, and liquidity will automatically move into Ethereum, from Ethereum into alts. That was the old liquidity flow. Nowadays, it is really about the good projects. Some of them I'm gonna name at the end of this video, so stay tuned, because these ones have so much potential to really give you this altcoin experience from the past that we're all looking for. Now, in the next phase, we are predicting an increase in the Dixie, a stronger dollar again, after Trump's idea of keeping the dollar very low to combat inflation, and after there was no rate cuts announced anymore in the future, and they said these will be the last rate cuts. We need to understand that Dixie will go higher. And the reason for that is that if we don't rate cut, that basically means there will be no dollars printed. That means the dollars in circulation are more valuable. That also means that the Dixie will rise, which is the dollar index. So if the dollar index gains strength, you need to understand that crypto goes lower. If the Dixie goes down, it loses value. That means there's more money goes more money into risky capital. Understand this, to make an example. Imagine there's someone giving you money, and more and more and more and more and more, right? Now, you're gonna use that money for the things you really need, but then you're also gonna start gamble with that money because you have excess. But people that don't have excess, if you are getting less money and less money and less money and less money, then you're not gonna gamble with that money because you need it for the normal basic stuff. That's maybe an example that will make you understand how the Dixie and the money printing at the end of the day works. And if they don't cut the rates anymore, which they said they wouldn't, we're gonna increase in the Dixie. Now again, if the Dixie increases, crypto is gonna go down, right? Now the second thing is that Bitcoin finished a sequence at C target at $126,000 to $127,000. Historically, what always happens once we hit C target in our trading system that I use, right, the NXT system, it means that we will correct at least 50%. By 50% correction of 127 is around 80, 85,000, something like that. And that will be normal. It is normal phase. So we will see lower Bitcoins. And everyone that is bullish right now, in my opinion, is just a believer, not a trader. He's not taking into account the economics. He's not taking into account politics. He's not taking into account the Dixie and the idea of where they want to take the currency, right? Monetary ideas and concepts. And they basically are not looking at the chart. The only thing they see is bullish, 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 bullish. And that's not how it's going to go. And then also once Bitcoin tops out anywhere, whatever the top is, even now in C target, which should trigger the reaction of altcoins pumping. Nothing happened. We dipped even harder, and that was something that was reflected by the strong liquidation event that we recently just had. Liquidation events happen because market makers, exchanges, and all of them see your orders. They can see where people are positioned, and it's an easy money grab for them to liquidate people. And it's stupid to buy at such a high point and believe Bitcoin will go in one push to $1 million or something else. So again, to finish this year up, besides more education for you and free value in that sense, it will not be like that anymore. Good projects will pump, bad ones will dump, and that's how it's going to stay from now on. The market shifted from idiots pumping markets, right, just because it's a certain season, a certain concept. That's not what the market follows anymore. The market is now being institutionalized. The market is more comparable to stock market, to gold. And gold doesn't move just because some idiots put money. Gold moves because of supply and demand. Gold moves because of ideas of politicians. Gold moves because big decisions are made. Positive, I am very much about BTC, and it will continue to go higher, and the good projects, especially alts, will gain their attention that they need because the market will become stronger and people will understand that. It just takes a lot of time for them to switch because they are still praying for the good old times in crypto where it was easy to make money, but these ones are over. Now, if there is any switch that flips, coins that you should focus on, in my opinion, and I did a lot of due diligence, I put all of my knowledge into it, research, listen to the people that I listen to, and it's kind of funny because these coins, they echo through every hall all the time. One of them is definitely going to be Chainlink, and I'm not going to tell you why, because on this YouTube channel, about every coin I'm going to name right now, there's a video about it. And if you actually want to inform yourself, make sure to watch these videos. Chainlink is one of them, one of my all-time favorites, right? We have XRP, we have XLM, we have Ondo, we have Render, we have Sui, we have SPX 6900, and a couple of more. But that's it for now. These are 7 coins that you can look out for. Every bull run has a trigger, and you need to understand that it's never random. And the markets have changed completely. You should not be waiting for any pumps. You should be actually getting smart about trading and understanding trading. And if that's something you really want to do, my community always has a place for motivated, disciplined people that actually really want to learn trading and have also the right expectation, because this you don't learn in a couple of months. Now, if you want to know when the flip switches and what is smart to do right now, then make sure to follow and like this video and leave your comments below. I read all of them and I will answer them honestly and with all my value that I have for you. See you in the next one.